In this video, we're going to pick up the conversation about layout mode and the tools that we have to edit in layout mode. Now, I'm using my keyboard shortcuts, or you can use a button on screen right here, edit layout. I press the button right there, and it's kind of exploding larger than my recording size. So what we have, of course, on the right side, we saw we have the right pane. The whole area is called a pane. We have a left pane over here. Then there are sub areas within these areas that are called panels or tab panels, which is what these are. You don't really see the tab there, but those are tab panels. Over on the left, we have fields and objects. Now, these are the fields that are specific to the table right here. Very handy. You can, of course, define a new field right here if you wanted to add a new field. Very quick and snappy. Say we had a field about the cat's name, say that we're really into our cat. We can specify the kind of field it is, and it's great. And as you can see, it auto-dropped it on the layout for me. So really cool capabilities here. We also have the ability to do our searches here, right? So I can select the table that we want here, but I can do a search, right? So I can say, let's find all the things that start with cat, right? And of course, apparently, the word cat is in modification. You learn something new every day. Anyway, this is our search capability. You can press this button to flip between the search functionality and then also selecting tables and digging through related fields. So of course, if you see a field here and you want this field here, just drag it over. It's super, super sweet. So ability to sort, obviously you can sort here, but pressing that gets you into a search function here, which can save a ton of time. So I really like this. Now the second part of this left pane is the second tab panel, and that's called objects. This is the object tree, or as FileMaker would say, it's the object list window. They've had a couple different names for this. The short version is that this is a list of all the objects over here on the layout. A good example of where this comes in handy is that you have a field over here, and then maybe you have a situation like this where this item is on the front. And so notice that if this item is on the front, you can't click on the item behind it, right? So the idea is that you could click on the item in front, and clicking the I right here temporarily hides it. It's still there, but now it's hidden. I can go back here and grab the things that are underneath it. Super cool. I use this object window or this object tab a lot. And of course, if you actually have a broader tab at the top, like you can click right here, this is your entire tab panel right here. So it's kind of got this little hierarchical build out of it, right? But say we want to hide the entire panel. We can click that and it goes away. Now, if I go back to browse mode, I'm going to use my keyboard shortcut and notice that the tab panel is back. It's all right here. So if I go back to layout mode, it goes back and it rehides it. Super cool. So it preserves the changes as you kind of go back and forth. You're testing how it looks, right? You're testing back and forth, trying to get it just right. This preserves that. Now, if you want to turn everything back on, you can click into this. That turns everything back on. So this is pretty sweet stuff, without a doubt. You can also do a search over here, show me everything with the word name in it, and you can do a find like that. Now keep in mind, as a tip, if I go to fields and I want to drag job title over here, I put that, say, up here. There it is, right? And then I go to objects, and I'm going to say show all objects here. What you're going to notice right here is that this is an edit box, okay? And what's interesting about the edit box is that it's a text field basically, but it also says job title. That's not the name of the object. If I want to name the object, I have to click on it here, come back over to the right side on the position tab, and I give it a name. And I hit the return key, and that gives it a name. Now, if I come back over here on the left side, notice it's changed its name now, right? See that? So what it's doing, it's showing us the type of object on the left right here. You see that? It's a edit field as opposed to a container with a little picture here, or a button, or a merge field, or whatever we have, all these things. And so the idea is that when you drag an object on the layout in FileMaker, by default, it won't have a name. That's a fundamental behavior of the FileMaker platform. If you bring things on the layout, like this item right here, it doesn't have a name. It's a container, and the container's name down in the field definitions is called photo. But the actual name of that object could be rubber ducky. There's your rubber ducky right there. Now, if I click over here, now it's a container, and the object name is rubber ducky. Of course, I can double click it and it'll pop up and give me the name right here as well. Understand over here that this could be the object name if one was set up for it, or the object doesn't have a name, so it tries to describe it to you. This one, you can tell it's a text object, and somehow in the text it says first name. But it doesn't really have an official name. So FileMaker is going to do its best to describe it to you in words. Of course, clicking on it will highlight it on screen. So it's a subtlety to understand, but if you're brand new to the FileMaker platform and maybe you're a developer from another platform, you might assume that all the objects have names. That's not the way it works in FileMaker. Objects by default don't have names. Once you give it a name, the name is set. If you actually have a name like this one over here now, it's called job title, and I say I duplicate that, and I say, okay, that's going to be the second job title, I move it down. Notice that there's a job title here, and this one right here is job title copy. It renames it for you. So once again, FileMaker would like to have unique names if you give them names, etc. So the field tab right here on the left pane and the objects tab right here on the pane, both really great tools. One last thing I want to show you. This is kind of a new feature that's come out recently with FileMaker. I'm going to go ahead and group these together. In old versions of FileMaker, once it was grouped, you could kind of see into here, but you really couldn't really resize things, right? So this is a group, and you really couldn't come in here and grab and resize it. But look what happens. If you have older versions of FileMaker, say 16 and previous, you click on it, you can't really grab the items inside directly like this. I'm in 17 or later. I click right here, and I get a dotted line. The dotted line is the outside of the group, but I've selected this one object right here. And if I want to take this one object right here, notice it's resizing the group to go with it. So I can resize or do something with this one item, and I don't have to ungroup it. Another cool part is that if you have buttons, a lot of people will build buttons like in FM Starting Point. The button might be grouped, right? And to change the text or change the image or move things around, it can kind of become a hassle. You almost have to ungroup the button and break the button. Because when you have a button and you ungroup it, it disconnects it from the script, right? So if you don't know that, there's a tip for you there. So this tool, this capability here to kind of dig down in a group is super sweet. And once again, of course, I can hide individual elements within the group. But that dotted line is kind of a new capability in the FileMaker platform. Makes your work much faster and much easier, especially as you start to get more experience and you build more sophisticated layouts. You're going to find that grouping things can be a real bonus.